Yes, you are indeed seeing that correctly. The New York Times writing a glowing fluff piece for a Trump supporter? Doesn't really make a hell of a lot of sense, right? Well, you take a look at some of the background of somebody involved with the January 6th storming of the Capitol, and then you gotta put two and two together. Why would the New York Times piece be writing something good about a Trump supporter, if not to cover their own asses? A Trump backer's downfall has the target of a January 6th conspiracy theory, Ray Epps. Funny, there's a lot of video footage of Ray Epps that's out there, and of all the people who have been subpoenaed, illegally detained, and held, put on show trials surrounding the Capitol riot, picnic, whatever the hell you want to call it at this point, and not a word has come Ray Epps' way, no, except for a all-too-giddy author from the New York Times. Funny thing about that, I don't need to read through all of this stuff because it's exactly what you'd expect, okay? Oh, just look at this guy. He just loves his wife. He loves his RV. He loved Trump, and he was down there at the Capitol that day chanting a bunch of very inflammatory things, but yet, not once being subpoenaed, not once being asked to talk in front of those clown show hearings at the Capitol building itself. It's just a real funny quinky of a goddamn dink once you break it all down, don't you think? Mr. Epps, 61, was not a bystander on January 6th. He traveled to Washington to back Mr. Trump. Was taped urging people to go to the Capitol. One of the few people that was, and again, makes it just a little bit, preposterous to think that, the FBI doesn't want to step in on that one. Really does get the old noggin jogging, don't you think? But through a series of events that twisted his role, he became the face of a conspiracy theory about the FBI as it spread from fringes to the mainstream. Funny, look at exactly the way that that's written. Was taped urging people to go to the Capitol. Now, they're going after Alex Jones. And what was Alex Jones taped doing that day? He was on a megaphone on top of a vehicle urging people to not go to the Capitol building, but they'll go after Alex Jones. Oh, okay, cool. I see what's going on here. And another thing, okay, and there's Ray Epps from on the day. Doesn't he look a little bit more inflammatory than everybody else who's down there? And boy, so many people with their faces covered in close proximity to Ray Epps. Very odd, don't you think? And we got some new information on him. I've been waiting on this one for a long goddamn time to do this, okay? Ray Epps told the FBI, again, he's in close proximity, he's got all this information. He's just really on a first-name basis with the feds. He expected a bomb attack near the Capitol on January 6th. Documents show. Okay, so where's Epps' indictment? Oh, right, the feds don't indict one of their own. Epps admitted to trespassing, directing protesters to go into the Capitol. I wish I could take that back, he told agents. But yet, at the same time, people who were just merely in Washington, D.C. have been arrested, detained, charged, indicted on a bunch of different charges, okay? But Ray Epps admitted that he went into the Capitol, and where are his charges? Where's any documentation on Ray Epps? No, he's just a simple man from out in the Rocky Mountain country who just magically decided on a whim to just fly across the country, land in Washington, D.C., and direct a bunch of people towards the Capitol. Nothing funny about that. You just need to shut up, listen, and fucking believe. When James Ray Epps first called the FBI regarding his January 2021 activities in Washington, D.C., he didn't mention how he implored protesters in several locations to go inside the Capitol, but he later told an agent that he expected a bomb would detonate on the side street near the Capitol. It's funny, because there were 2 pipe bombs that were found in Washington, D.C., okay, that were placed by somebody who is still at large. Weird. Another weird oddity that came out as well. One was planted at the RNC headquarters in Washington, and the other was planted at the DNC headquarters. Nothing to do with anything, but again, no conclusive evidence and no final charges have been laid in that one. It's just an odd situation all around. Those are just 2 of the revelations, the collection of the Epps-related material obtained by the Epoch Times, including FBI interview summaries, FBI audio recordings, transcripts, videos, and photographs. The 2 interviews with the FBI in 2021, Epps explained his actions on January 5th and 6th. He admitted he was guilty of trespassing on restricted Capitol grounds and confessed to urging protesters to go to and into the Capitol on January 6th. So people who have pled to much less than that and have admitted to doing less than that have received harsher charges. Guys who have taken plea deals after being arrested, but yet not Epps for admitting that he went into the Capitol. Very odd. Very, very odd. Despite the admissions, the FBI never arrested Epps, and he has not been charged by the U.S. Department of Justice with any January 6th crimes. The non-action has fueled a crop of theories that he might be working with the FBI and another agency. I would imagine, okay, maybe he's not a glowy, okay, maybe, you know what, just the pristine Trump hat, you know, just the real Fed look about him. Maybe that's all just a coincidence. I'd imagine he's probably an informant, and if anything really starts to happen, I'd imagine he's going to be called as material witness on the Fed side. You just go ahead and lock me down for that one. Epps, 61, has repeatedly denied those suggestions through his attorney. Probably somebody, if you take a look at his attorney, probably has a whole bunch of links to a whole bunch of people. Just saying, it always works out this way. Epps recently sold his house and land in Queen Creek, Arizona, because of threats of harassment and moved to Colorado. Why? I'm sure you probably also got a pretty penny. I'm not too sure where Queen Creek, Arizona is, but Colorado's a little bit more of a liberal state, and again, thanks to California Flight, you probably made out pretty well on that land. He told the New York Times in July. Oh yes, that article. I'll link to it if you want to read through it. It's just a long fluff piece of how Ray Epps was a good boy who didn't do nothing. Not exactly the style of the New York Times when it comes to a Trump supporter, but it just really makes you think, doesn't it? Epps at one time was number 16 on the FBI's January 6th most wanted page. His entry was later scrubbed from the list without explanation. He was among a handful of persons of interest to have their photos deleted from the FBI site. In an interview with an FBI agent on March 3rd, 2021, Epps said that he bought a first aid kit and a backpack to Washington because he expected a terror attack. Why would you be doing that? Yeah, I thought there might be a problem. That's why I was there. Oh, cool. Ray Epps, he was just going to be one of those guys to stop anything from happening. Sure thing. Epps told an FBI agent and an FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force officer. JTT, interesting. In a meeting at the Phoenix office, Ray Epps' attorneys, John Blishkak. Blishkak told the Times that he would comment after reviewing the FBI's interview summary, but has not done so by press time. All right, that might have changed by the time that this gets released, but whatever. I was afraid they were going to set off an explosion on one of the side streets, so they tried to stay in the middle, tried to get out there early, tried to stay away from the streets, and something like that happened. I had a first aid kit, and I could help out. Okay, if you're just going to go down there and be a handy-dandy Trump supporter, and you knew of bombs going off, wouldn't you think... this is, running a common sense check. Wouldn't you think that's maybe a little too extreme? Wouldn't you go and meet with somebody and tell them about that stuff? Like, that seems like a pretty logical conclusion to come to. Anyways, Epps told agents that the possibility of violence weighed heavily on his mind, and he originally did not plan to travel to Washington until he got the phone call on that, the old big black block, the old Motorola there. I don't know if Feds still use those. It was only when learning that his son, James Epps Jr., was going to be at a Trump rally that the senior Epps decided to go and keep an eye on his son. Where's he at? Oh, maybe that's the person that he's leaning into and patting on the back. Perhaps. As time went on, I started getting a bad feeling like something's going to happen, Epps said, the U.S. Marine Corps veteran and former Oathkeeper leader in Arizona. Oh, the Oath Keepers. Right. So maybe he was an informant, because some of the most serious charges have been placed against one Oath Keeper, I don't know, founder, follower, leader. I don't know what their fucking hierarchy is. But funny thing about that was the only one who was charged with conspiracy to commit sedition, some dumb shit like that. But it's funny to come to that revelation that Ray Epps was involved with the Oath Keepers in some form or fashion. That's what's being alleged, but he's also being alleged to not working with the feds. So you take one, you take the other, I guess. There's a lot of wackies out there. So why did you stay? Why'd you urge people to go to the Capitol? Again, none of this is really adding up. You're scared for your son's safety. Why don't you take your son and get the fuck out? Why don't you think, okay, I know about these bombs that are going to be going off. I should probably leave with my son because I'm just here to help out. So instead, you were waving people into the Capitol and you bought a first aid kit to help out. None of this makes sense. None of it makes sense. I thought something could happen in Washington, D.C. I thought there might be, what do you call them? EOD, something like that. Okay. Epps might have been referring to an improvised explosive device, an IED. Yeah, because a former Marine Corps veteran wouldn't get right an improvised explosive device. Come on now. Which is a homemade bomb and the favorite weapon of insurgents in Afghanistan during the United States long war there. Asked for clarification. Oh, you mean like a terrorist act? Right, like a terrorist act. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Agents did not press Epps on what led him to believe that there would be an explosion, nor did they ask about the 2 alleged pipe bombs found outside the Republican and Democratic Party headquarters, each just blocks away from the Capitol. The RNC pipe bomb was placed near the corner of the Capitol Hill Club, facing the side street. Similar description Epps offered. Okay, interesting, because they knew about that at the time. I seen that being reported, if my memory serves me correctly. That was known pretty early in the day because that happened the night before January 6th, so January 5th. Funnily, when Ray Epps was there as well, Epps told the FBI agents he regretted the things he said in downtown D.C. the night of January 5th. He spoke to internet personality, Baked Alaska, fuck off, and video podcaster Villain Report, both of whom recorded their exchanges. Oh, consider yourself lucky that Baked Alaska didn't mace you. You are an old man in his target demographic. Fuck off. In fact, tomorrow, I don't even like to say it, because I'll be arrested. I'll say it. We need to go to the Capitol. Epps told Baked Alaska, whose name is Anthony Ginode. Nah, fuck him. Legitimate alt-right can't say that word. Anyways, Epps shouted a similar theme to a large crowd. Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol, peacefully, he told, and then started chanting. Oh, then the crowd started chanting, Fed, 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 Fed. Yeah, no, exactly. You could almost excuse this as just being a boomerism, but come on, guys. Fucking come on. FBI agents told Epps that his statements on January 5th were problematic. No, they're grounds for charging other people for doing a lot less, but because Epps is who he is, they said they found him often on video and in photographs from 5th and 6th of January. Epps replied, I'm the tallest guy in the crowd and I stick out, man. They followed me, he joked. I could never be a bank robber. Oh my god, shut up. We said that the same way, one of the agents said. We said it's a big guy and in every photo we find him, he's in it. Oh, okay. Why haven't we seen those photographs? Anyways, wish I could take it back. Blasey, blasey, blasey. We were going to the Capitol. Where our problems are, that's the direction. Please spread the word. When speaking to a young man in a red and black Mackinac jacket, Epps said, where we go in, leave this here, pointing to something. We don't need to get shot. Interesting. Was he somebody who had a gun? Because a scarce amount of firearms have actually been recovered. First call to the FBI was on January 8th. Okay. After his brother-in-law notified Epps' wife that the photograph of Epps was on the FBI site, the call for a National Threat Operations Center lasted about 27 minutes. According to an audio file, the call obtained by Epoch Times in describing his activities, Epps never mentioned that he urged the crowd on January 5th to go to the Capitol the next day. He went down to a Black Lives Matter Plaza. Oh, Black Lives Matter Plaza was what was formerly referred to as a park in Washington, D.C. It might still have that designation because Washington is crazy. To calm things down after people he suspected were Antifa activists were harassing police. I tried to calm them down. Boy, this guy's awfully active and all this stuff. It's just weird. Honestly, my suspicions in going over all of this evidence so far is just this was a boomer who got caught in a situation, tried to be as helpful as possible to the FBI, but they flipped him to turn informant. That's just my thought process, okay? Former veteran, somebody who's going to be sympathetic towards the authorities, and then also had some inside information on the Oath Keepers. That's my thoughts, knowing all of the other charges that's going around as well. Maybe there's more to this, and maybe I'll change my mind, but that's where I'm at this point. I'm guilty of being down there, and that's probably trespassing, he said. But I had a reason. I was trying to calm him down. I wanted to be there, and I'm going to try to calm him down. Anything I can do to help, blah, blah, blah. Stop repeating yourself. Oh, there he is once again. I believe, just my belief, they were Antifa. Those are the ones saying that stuff, he said, and it's like running that way, and I'm like, maybe I can calm them down, so I went with them. Okay, that's just stupid. Anyways, trying to put on your big boy dad pants, I guess. Epps said it was his original intention to stay with all of those speeches at the Ellipse. Planned on being, and word was being passed around that right after he gets done speaking, we're going to go to the Capitol, and it was given. But everybody had already left prior, well, at least the insurgent types were already heading down from the Ellipse towards the Capitol building 20 minutes before Trump was done speaking, and it's a 1 mile walk or 3/4 of a mile walk. Perhaps the scene that drew the most attention and speculation about Epps on January 6th is when he appeared at the first breach point of the police lines. Some 20 minutes before Trump finished speaking at the Ellipse, an aggressive crowd gathered at a lightly defended barrier on the sidewalk not far from the Peace Monument. Yeah, no, exactly. As riders began yanking at the bicycle rack barriers, Epps pulled Ryan Samsel back from the front line and spoke in his ear. Seconds after the exchange, Samsel and the others knocked down the barrier, causing one officer to fall back and hit her head on the concrete. Aw, poor girl. But did she break a nail? I walked up to him and I put my arm around him and he said, "That's not why we're here. We're not going to do that." And then proceeded to do that. That don't make no sense. Inconsistencies in interviews. Oh, this could be interesting. Because again, I'm seeing some through lines here. But let's just go ahead and have Epps clear up Epps's words. His 2 interviews with the FBI included some inconsistency and changed details according to the recordings and FBI summary documents. Epps told the FBI on January 8th that his brother-in-law called him to notify that his picture was on the FBI's January 6th website. During the March 3rd interview with Epps and the FBI, someone contacted me and said, "Hey, your picture's up." Okay, that's something different. Okay, if you're talking to the same agency, okay, why would you leave out the detail that it's your brother-in-law? Yeah, that's weird. That could just be leaving out and streamlining your story, because I'm sure you probably told it to a few different people over the course of a couple of months. When asked about his brother-in-law in the interview, Epps said, "He didn't call me, he called my sister." Then his wife interjected, "That was me. I can tell you exactly because he sent me a text, actually." Okay, interesting. When asked who was with him on January 5th and 6th, Epps replied, "My son." A short while later, "I think he had a friend there." He did have a friend there. I don't know his name. Okay, that's new. One of the agents said he recalled on January 8th phone call with the FBI. Epps said that he was sightseeing on January 7th. "No, we did that the day before," he told the agent a few minutes later. However, the details changed. "Oh, you know what? Next day we did. No, we got up in the morning and we went to the Vietnam Memorial." That's, yeah, okay. That one's not so bad. That's just forgetting something. Or maybe he's just trying to cover up another detail. I don't know. Both contacts with the FBI, Epps asked if his photo could be removed from the FBI's January 6th page, and on the January 8th call, the FBI operator said that she had nothing to do with the FBI web content. Sure thing. Just like calling customer service for your cell phone saying, "Well, I'm not in charge of that department. You can access all that shit." Shut up. Just stop it. Epps said notoriety of being publicly listed as a person of interest has caused problems. Yeah, I don't really care. Dude, at worst, you're a snitch. At best, you are completely innocent. But outside of your name being known, nobody really knows you. Do I think you're a glowy? No, I'm going to stick to my kind of acquired interpretation that the feds just flipped you and now you're an informant. Otherwise, they would have got you on something. Conspiracy to trespass potentially the day after. They would have got you on something, but they haven't now. So there's just going to be more questions on this going forward. And again, I'm sure the feds are probably mounting some big charge when they eventually indict Trump on some felonious charges anyway. So we'll see Ray Epps pop up once again. Maybe he'll get another fluff piece. Maybe he'll actually be testifying in front of Congress. Why isn't he down there for those January 6 hearings? Really does get the old noggin jogging now, doesn't it? So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.